The White House, as the seat of American executive power, is not merely a collection of offices, but a potent symbol of democratic continuity. For Donald Trump, however, his tenure is marked by a profound personal sense of ownership over the physical structure, a sentiment that often appeared to overshadow the institution's role as a public trust. His complete and swift demolition of the White House East Wing in service of a private, gaudy 90,000-square-foot ballroom represents one of the most egregious assaults on a national landmark in modern American history, driven by an almost possessive desire to impose his personal standard upon a national symbol. The act of architectural and historical destruction carried out under the guise of modernization and private funding is not merely a construction project, it is a profound desecration, a flagrant discarding of established legal, historical, and procedural norms that protect the nation's most sacred governmental structures. The controversy surrounding the demolition highlights a troubling pattern of institutional disregard, raising critical questions about accountability, the abuse of executive power, and the opaque influence of private wealth on public heritage.
Total demolition within days. That's what two administration officials tell NBC News is now the fate of the historic East Wing of the White House, to make way for President Trump's massive new ballroom.
It'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million.
That ballooning price tag up from $200 million, with the president saying he's covering the cost, along with private donors, among them Comcast, NBC's parent company. The East Wing teardown coming despite this earlier promise.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it.
Now, as the debris pile is growing, so is the backlash.
But knowing Trump as we do, and he can't help but say the quiet parts out loud, he admitted that he regretted leaving the White House in 2021.
I shouldn't have left. I mean, honestly, because we did so well.
Trump said during a rally in Pennsylvania in November last year. It was a rare public admission of regret over participating in the peaceful transfer of power after he incited his supporters to violently storm the U.S. Capitol as he tried to subvert the results of the 2020 election that he lost but refused to concede. And this poses the question, is Trump building something more than just a ballroom? I mean, who spends 3 years extending their home knowing they have to move out before it's even finished? Could Trump be planning a sit-in? Is the ballroom really a bulletproof bunker, an extension for Trump to hunker down in for the foreseeable? Does Trump have any plans to leave? Trump advisor Steve Bannon says that this is exactly the plan.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28. We had longer odds in 16 and longer odds in 24 than we got in 28. And President Trump will be the president of the United States, and the country needs him to be president of the United States. We have to finish what we started.
So we have a plan for absolute power, and a plan to never relinquish that power, and therefore needing somewhere more suitable to stay. The physical act of destruction of the East Wing is in many ways metaphorical for how Trump has destroyed the country in just 10 short months. The corruption and firings at his DOJ, HHS, IRS, the DOE are further examples of how American institutions are collapsing under Trump's direction. And now, thanks to his authoritarian policies, the government is shut down for the longest period in history. The destruction of the White House, breathtaking in its scope and speed, makes a mockery of Trump's earlier assurances that the planned ballroom won't interfere with the current building.
I haven't been transparent?
That's some of your critics feel it.
I've shown this to everybody that would listen. Third-rate reporters didn't see it because they didn't look. You're a third-rate reporter, always have been. So third-rate reporters didn't look, but anybody that asked, these pictures have been in newspapers. They've been all over the place, and, we're very proud of it. It's gotten great reviews.
Within days of the project's announcements, photographs obtained by Lawdork and later confirmed by satellite imagery revealed that the promise was a deliberate lie. What was initially reported as the demolition of a portion or facade quickly escalated into the systematic dismantling of most, if not all, of the historic structure. The East Wing, an enduring symbol of presidential activity and a crucial functional component of the White House complex, was reduced to rubble, with only its western and northern walls left standing in a stark visual testament to the extent of the damage. This sudden, irreversible erasure of a wing of the executive mansion sent a clear and alarming message that the monumental structure, long revered as the people's house, could be altered or destroyed to accommodate the personal gilded ambitions of a sitting president hoping to be king. Compounding the shock of the physical demolition was the regime's brazen circumvention of nearly every customary and legally mandated regulatory process. Federal law and executive orders have established robust review mechanisms to protect national landmarks, yet the White House initiated the demolition outside of any governmental and transparent funding process. Most critically, groundwork began before any plans were submitted to the National Capital Planning Commission, the body charged with reviewing major federal projects in the capital region. When confronted, White House officials, including the staff secretary who also chaired the NCPC, offered a dubious legalistic defense, asserting that the commission's purview applied only to vertical build and not to demolition or site preparation. This insane interpretation was widely contested, with the National Trust for Historic Preservation issuing a direct warning that public review was legally required for a project of this magnitude. Furthermore, the work appeared to disregard key federal preservation laws, including Executive Order 11593 and a crucial 1961 law signed by President Kennedy that classified the White House as a museum and extended legal protection to all White House objects and furnishings. The unilateral decision to decouple the demolition from the necessary construction approval process, a move explicitly cited in the legal motion for a temporary restraining order, was a clear attempt to expedite the project by bypassing mandatory historic preservation and planning reviews.
Nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader.
But why expedite it? Why is Donald Trump in such a hurry to start this project and get it done? Is it because he needs it done before the next general election? Last Monday, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, went on CNN to discuss the president's deployment of the National Guard troops to U.S. cities, when he said under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority, and then made an abrupt stop. Miller blinked several times, with the anchor calling out his name, though he did not respond.
Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority. Stephen?
The brief moment sparked controversy online over Miller's use of the phrase plenary authority, which Cornell University's Legal Information Institute defines as power that is wide-ranging, broadly construed, and often limitless for all practical purposes. Some viewers speculated that there was no technical malfunction during the interview, but rather that Miller abruptly caught himself and stopped talking. One viewer said Stephen Miller said the quiet part out loud accidentally and then appeared to glitch all of a sudden when he recognized how much of his foot he'd just put into his mouth. Perhaps the most insidious element of this dictatorial East Wing controversy was its opaque and politically charged financing. Donald Trump touted what was a $200 million project, which has become $250 million, $300 million, $350 million now, and potentially more. A 90,000 square foot ballroom, larger than the White House itself, and being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine, Trump said, as well as many generous patriots, great American companies. The public revelation of the corporate donors, however, instantly transformed the project from a benign renovation into a stark emblem of political patronage and influence peddling. Major technology giants, including Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Google, along with defense and communications contractors like Lockheed Martin, Palantir, T-Mobile, and Comcast, were among those contributing millions to the president's private endeavor. This confluence of corporate money, a sitting president's personal project, and the destruction of a national monument was immediately perceived by critics as yet another example of Trump using his office to get people to give him money. The use of private funds served to cloak the project in a veil of non-governmental activity, while simultaneously allowing powerful, interested parties to funnel massive amounts of capital directly into a presidential priority, raising profound ethical and transparency concerns. The outrage spurred by the demolition was immediate and widespread. Historians, former White House officials, and a shocked public viewed the actions as a monumental betrayal of the trust placed in the steward of the nation's heritage. The symbolic and functional significance of the East Wing, which has housed the offices of the First Lady and her staff, along with a visitor's entrance, the desecration of the East Wing was a multifaceted offense. It was a physical act of destruction that flouted an explicit promise. It was an administrative act that intentionally subverted the legal and regulatory framework designed to protect national monuments. And finally, it was a political act that underscored the dangerous potential for opaque private financing to dictate the alteration of public architecture and institutional spaces. The incident sets a troubling precedent, suggesting that the White House, the very structure that represents the continuity and stability of American governance, is susceptible to the whim of a single occupant. The swiftness and impunity with which the East Wing was reduced to rubble stands as a powerful warning against the normalization of such institutional disregard, cementing the event's place as a lasting architectural tragedy and a devastating symbol of disregard for national heritage. Just another day in the authoritarian journey, living under a Donald Trump dictatorship.
It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building. And rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that, frankly, they've been after for years, you have that. I brought these along so people could see, but it's...
I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.